sitting at the same old workplace. What's the point of this chase? To just bite our...
Coucou, ¿cómo ça va? How are you doing today? So for those who don't know, my name is Adriel, and today we're going to be talking about how to style the white shirt. I'm going to be frank, I love a white shirt. I love a white shirt paired with denim, or a white shirt paired with a skirt and some riding boots, and I can just walk out the door and live my best life. But here's the thing, I think it can get a little bit tricky when we start trying to style an oversized white shirt. I am petite. I know I don't look it, but I am. And as a result, styling an oversized white shirt can be a little tricky because you don't want to look like you're wearing your mom's clothing, but at the same time, you want to find a way to still kind of like balance out the outfit. So as a result, I have this oversized white shirt that I recently bought from xoxo. And what I'm going to do is just show you 5 different ways that you can style it up, and particularly this will be helpful if you are petite and you don't really know how to like style up something oversized but still have it look good on you. So with that said, let's do the first look. Okay, let's start with this very first look. In this look, I am doing a pair of denim with an oversized blazer and of course my oversized white shirt. Now, I can easily just go with this pair of jeans and have it with this oversized white shirt and kind of a low heel to kind of give me just a little bit of elongation with the leg. And that's cool, that's a great look. But sometimes I think it's really fun to really play up kind of that oversized nature of, you know, the shirt and the outfit and really add on a nice big blazer to it. Now you might be thinking, I don't think this is gonna look good on me. How do I do this? Why does this work? Well, it works because, frankly, I think one of the things that happens is when you buy something oversized, kind of the tendency is to then pair it with something maybe a bit more slimming and narrow. Whereas, in fact, if you just add in a lot of other oversized elements, so for example, a wide leg jean, and then also a kind of oversized blazer, it can actually make the outfit feel a bit more balanced than it would if you were, say, doing, you know, the oversized white shirt with a pair of straight leg or skinny jeans. So you can see from this look, I've kind of brought out all of this oversizedness for lack of a better word, and really played that up to kind of help give a really kind of a little bit of fun to the outfit. And one thing I note is that if you are going to go with kind of a wider leg jean, I would strongly recommend you do something with just a bit of a heel. So these are a pair of clogs that I have from Cezanne, and of course all of the outfit details will in fact be linked as always, but this is a pair of clogs that I have, and it just gives me a little bit of height, not too much, but it helps just elongate my legs. And so as a result, you know, the pants really perfectly skim the ground, and it just kind of complements this kind of overall oversized look. I also want to note that you can really play with accessories here. So you could add a tie if you wanted to add a little bit more visual interest. You could add, you know, a chain if you want to add a bit more visual interest. You know, you could do suspenders underneath it if you wanted to add more visual interest. And if none of those are interesting to you, you could just do a scarf, right? A scarf around the neck would also be something that could just add in a bit more visual interest to the outfit. But I just say this to say that don't think you have to go narrow to complement your oversized shirt. Think about going wide, and that actually might balance out the look a little bit better. Now, another way you can go about styling an oversized white shirt is with a skirt. And I'm talking about not tucking it in, but letting this oversized shirt kind of hang over your skirt. Now, in this situation, I'm doing a mini skirt. It's a vintage mini suede skirt. You could also do a midi skirt, could look really cute. in either of these situations. You know, that way you have a little bit more skirt kind of peeking out from underneath the top. And what I would actually recommend is that then to kind of add a bit more definition, to add a little bit of layer, to add a little more visual interest to the outfit, then put on a vest over it. Because the thing about the vest is that if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, you know, this shirt, I'm kind of drowning in it, I'm feeling, you know, like it's swimming on me, by putting on the vest, look, you create a little bit of definition, right? You create a little bit of waist definition. You could even do kind of a cropped vest, probably might even look a little bit better. Think Cher, think Clueless. Does anybody remember that outfit? I do. But the point is that by doing that, you're kind of creating a little bit more definition around your waist area. And then as a result, it doesn't feel like you're just kind of wearing this big, you know, shirt that is really, you know, kind of, that you're kind of drowning in. One of the things to think about whenever you're going to put on like an oversized white shirt or kind of any sort of oversized top is really truly to think about it in terms of, how can I add visual interest? How can I add another layer to really kind of bring everything together so it doesn't feel like I just threw on this oversized white shirt and I walked out of the door. Now, another way you can go about styling your oversized white shirt is with a dress. So basically putting a dress over your oversized white shirt. Take a dress like this. This is a knit dress that I got from J.W. Anderson last year during the Solds. I really, really wanted this dress, but did not want to pay full price for it. So I waited until the Solds period and I finally found it on sale. And the thing about this dress, I loved the red of it. I loved kind of the fit of it. I loved everything about it. The one teeny tiny issue, is it's completely see-through. Now, I'm not trying to be an exhibitionist, right? So as a result, that just wasn't going to work for me. So I thought that one of the creative ways of styling up this dress would be to put it either over another dress or, more importantly, over an oversized white shirt. Because an oversized white shirt, it can benefit from just this structure of this dress, right? And you have the warmth of having sleeves, right? But then you also have the protection of, you know, you're covered underneath the dress. The great thing about it is because it is slightly because the shirt is oversized and the dress is a little bit more mini, it really adds like these cool layers and dimensions, right? You get the definition and the waist that you would otherwise have with the dress, the little flare at the end that you otherwise have with the dress, but then you have, you know, that oversized kind of, you know, tail of your white shirt peeking out from up underneath the dress. And I just think that that is really cool and really fun. So if you have a dress that say maybe is a little bit too short, or, you know, it's kind of see-through and you're trying to figure out, you know, how do I even how do I style this for, you know, fall or winter? Consider putting that dress over your oversized white shirt. Now, if you are just running that out of the house, you have just a few errands to run, you just want to get up and go, an oversized white shirt is going to be your friend. And one of the ways you can pair this, kind of finish out your outfit, is to do it with a pair of leggings. But again, as I kind of noted, it's always helpful to have a little bit of definition, something that kind of pulls that final kind of piece to really pull everything together. So in that situation, if you're just running out, but you still want to kind of make the outfit look a bit more polished, I would say do something like this. This actually is not a vest. Again, I got it from Coast. It's more like a mock vest turtleneck. Does that make sense? It's a mock vest, right? Because it doesn't close right here. It's open. But in the front, you know, it kind of goes down as if it were a vest. I feel like something like this would be really great for leggings. It's really great, you know, throw on your sneakers, get on out the door. The reason why is because it just adds that little touch of visual interest to the outfit to kind of keep it feeling a bit fresh and a little bit polished. But at the same time, you're still able to just throw it on and go, right? It doesn't require tons of thought. Again, this is something you could do with a vest if you want to, but I think doing it with something a little bit more different, since you are doing leggings, and that's probably, you know, a more standard way I would say people think of kind of styling an oversized white shirt. I think something like this, where it's like a mock vest, something that is slightly different, a little bit quirky, really adds just an extra bit of flair to the outfit. You could also achieve this same look with a scarf. So if you have a large scarf, you could find a really cool way of tying the scarf, you know, maybe draping the scarf across you, maybe making it so that the scarf hangs low in the front. Any of those things that just will add a little bit more to the outfit and give you kind of one extra big layer that you can really play around with. And the final way I would recommend styling an oversized white shirt is with a corset belt. Now, I know you're probably sitting here like, why on earth should I buy a corset belt? You know what? There are things in this life that can just be fun, honey. So one of the things that I think is interesting is there are some cool brands right now who are making, you know, just kind of these really big belts, right? Belts that go from, you know, here up to here. DeHanche is one of the brands that's doing that. And I think that that is really cool and really fun because I think it gives you a chance to use that belt to dress up something like an oversized white shirt or something like that, that could benefit, that would otherwise maybe seem a bit plain. So one of the fun ways to do that is to add a corset belt or frankly even just a really large belt. And having as a result, that belt is kind of what is the showpiece and centerpiece of the outfit. Again, another reason to do this is that it creates definition. So one of the things that I think often happens, particularly with oversized clothing, is that we as women might purchase oversized clothing because we're hoping to hide something or mask something, right? So maybe we're looking to mask our middle area, something like that. Maybe, you know, we're looking to, you know, hide, you know, some bodily imperfection, right? So a lot of times what happens is we then invest in oversized clothing. But the thing is, when you do that, it often can end up highlighting that very thing that you are trying to frankly minimize, right? Just kind of trying to draw people's attention away. Same thing also in a kind of a different context. If you are petite or, you know, you don't fit kind of what you think is, you know, the norm of size norm, you know, that our society tells us, very often you'll shy away or avoid buying something like that, something that is oversized, because you're going to think, well, that's just never going to look good on me. I can never make that look right. It's only going to make me look, you know, more short. It will just, again, highlight the very thing that, you know, I'm not looking to highlight, is like how short I am, right? Again, it's not necessarily that piece is going to, it means you can't buy it because you are short. It just, or you are petite or, you know, whatever else. It just means you have to really think about how to style it in a way that is complimentary for your body. So kind of taking those two things in mind, one of the things about investing in something like a corset or a big belt is that it creates definition. If you notice, every single thing that I propose today is something that's going to create more definition for you. This is how you need to think about oversized clothing, but just also clothing in general, is that it's not that this just doesn't work for me. It's more so, how do I have to style it to make it work for my particular body and my particular size? All right, so there you have it, 5 different ways that you can style your oversized white shirt. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments, any thoughts, anything like that, because I'm always happy to help with styling. I love styling outfits. I love putting together clothing, and I really try to think about, when I'm doing these videos, thinking about how we can dress for different body shapes and whatever else. So if that's something you have any questions about, you can always, you know, drop a message in the comments. I would love to hear it, love to talk about it further. Thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Look forward to talking with you more in the comment section. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bisous. Ciao, ciao.